Sir Isaac Newton was one of the most influential mathematicians, physicists, and astronomers who is vastly identified as an important figure in the scientific revolution. Newton studied and worked hard for his well-known accomplishments in mathematics and theorems that we still use profoundly to this day. At the age of 24, Newton initiated his work towards making a theoretical advancement on gravitation that would ultimately enable him to categorize the universe into a lucid structure. He developed the concept of gravity after watching an apple fall from a tree. Newton's attentive performance guided him to his prominent discovery. His law of universal gravitation specifies that any two bodies in the universe draw together with a force that is exactly comparable to the product of their masses and reciprocally comparable to the square of range between them. Sir Isaac Newton, along with Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, developed calculus. Both men accused one another of stealing the other's work in a spiteful altercation that prolonged until the end of their lives. Calculus was an instrument in which Newton needed for justifying the movement of the planets. He is also accredited for the breakthrough of the general binomial theorem that explains the algebraic expansion of powers of a binomial. He utilized fractional exponents in systematic geometry to obtain results to Diophantine equations. These achievements symbolize an immense leap onward for the fields of math, allowing for calculations that more precisely represent the actions of the universe much better than in the past. In 1666, Isaac Newton started contributing to the area of optics. He began by examining that color was a property of light by observing it through a prism. With the outcome of his research, he began to propose that color is the outcome of objects working together with color light opposed to objects producing the color themselves. His well-known discovery of optics is known as Newton's theory of color. Newton also gathered that the lens of a refracting telescope could suffer from the diffusion of light into colors. For authentication of the theory, Newton assembled a telescope using a mirror for the objective to avoid that issue. Newton had then created the first well-known operative reflecting telescope in history. The design of his telescope is known as the Newtonian telescope. After 18 months of concentrated and efficiently constant work, Isaac Newton published Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. The book was one of the most vital books, also known as Principia, explaining gravity and motion with mathematics. It covers material on all the critical concepts of physics. The book also explains Newton's 3 laws of motion. The first law states that a stationary body will stay stationary unless an external force is applied to it. The second law explains that force is equal to mass times acceleration, and a change in motion is proportional to the force applied. Lastly, the third law states for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Isaac Newton discovered many things in life, allowing us to have a basic understanding of gravity, calculus, and optics. He contributed more to the growing of science than anyone else has. Newton's first law of motion states that every object consists of a state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless it is coming to change that the states by forces impressed on it. This law is often the law of inertia. Newton's second law states that the acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same direction as the net force and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite